I want to thank you for the opportunity. I apologize for jumping in the schedule. I think I was supposed to be here earlier, but as my mother always said, better late than never. But anyway, first of all, I want to thank you for what you do. As a person who has benefited from our public lands, I really appreciate the people who have taken the time and energy, who have committed much of their life to preserving what we have in this great state as good stewards and carrying for the next generation. You all do that. You all are committed to that, and for that we're grateful. The state, we can't survive without you. We can't provide the highest quality of life possible to our citizens without hardworking, dedicated people like you. Please give yourselves a round of applause for all you do. I oftentimes speak about how wonderful a state Illinois is and can be. A lot of what was said earlier about what I talk about is the opportunity that we have lost in this state, but I believe we can regain. Illinois, believe it or not, is still the 5th largest state in the nation, and believe it or not, we're the 18th largest economy in the world, counting the United States of America as number 1 and on down. But unfortunately, we have put almost every sector of our economy, almost every sector of our population at risk over the last 8 years by putting policies in place that have damaged and darkened opportunities in Illinois. I'm here today as a businessman. I look at Illinois as a business. I believe that Illinois competes against 49 other states that we call businesses. And to provide the best quality of life for the people of Illinois, we have to make Illinois the most competitive place to live, work, and do business, and have the highest quality of any state in this nation. You know, there are some who say, if you look at Illinois, why would you want to be governor? There's no question that over the last several years, we have squandered much in Illinois, created great unfunded liabilities. When I look at Illinois, and I look at the assets, in business we have to not just look at the liabilities, but we have to look at the assets. And I think of what we have as a state, how rich we are in our God-given resources, from our soil, through our agriculture, our coal, our wind, our oil. You look at our infrastructure, from our rails, our river, our air right of way. You look at our colleges and our universities. You look at our healthcare institutions. You look at the great diversity of this state, from Elizabethtown, overlooking the Ohio River, to the Shawnee National Forest, the Galena Territories, the Illinois River, Lake Michigan, and the surrounding areas. The real opportunity that we have in so many ways, not to mention tourism and recreation. When you look at the 13 million people, I can't help but believe this state can do better, which is why I believe if we put the right business practices in place, we can rebuild the greatest state in this nation. But we have to realize the consequences of our last actions. We have to realize that when you overtax, you overfeed, you overregulate, you overlitigate, and you create deficits and debt, you push people out of the state. Over the last 10 years, Illinois has become one of the largest net out-migration states in the nation. I don't know if you know this or not. But we lost through net out-migration over 700,000 people in jobs. In just the last 12 months, we lost over 250,000 jobs. As a businessman, I've had an opportunity to visit with businesses around the state. And I've asked them, what are the challenges that you face in Illinois? Simply put, Illinois is too expensive a place to live, work, and do business. We overlitigate, we overregulate, we overtax. And we overfeed. If we're going to bring jobs and people back to Illinois and keep jobs and people in Illinois, we've got to reduce the tax burden. Now, I know there are some who criticize me for not having the courage to tell the people of Illinois we have to raise their tax rates. You see, the people I talk to, frankly, have told me they're looking for a governor who realizes we can't raise tax rates, a governor who will balance the state budget and have the courage to do so without raising tax rates. You see, if we raise tax rates, we're cost us over $4,200. In the last 12 months, the loss of 250,000 jobs cost us $1 billion in revenue, year in and year out. The loss of 700,000 jobs over the last 7 to 10 years has cost us over $3 billion in revenue, year in and year out. Not to mention the quality of life for the families who lost the opportunity to provide for their families. See, I believe if we restructure Illinois, if we make Illinois a competitive place to make a business investment in terms of taxes and fees, regulation and litigation, people will come back because of what we have to offer. Revenues will come to our state, and we will be able to rebuild our economy. We will rebuild our balance sheet, and we will make Illinois, once again, the greatest state in the nation. There are other things that we need to do. A clean break from the politics of the past. I know you're here today because you're focused on park districts. But I also have to tell you that Illinois has a problem with corruption. Anyone know that? But it's not just the illegal corruption that we struggle with. We are in a system of corruption. A system that has given far too much power to too few people. A system that has taken power away from a citizen legislature and dampened our democracy. As leaders in your community, I'm asking you to join me in eliminating that system of corruption, giving government back to its people by providing term limits, contribution limits, and legislative districts drawn by a computer, not self-serving politicians. Ladies and gentlemen, if we give the government of the state back to the people, if we restructure the state of Illinois, we can make it the greatest state in the nation. And it tears at the very reason that you're here. You're here because you believe in stewardship. You believe in taking what we've been given and preserving it not only for the current generation, but for the next. And to do so, you need a vibrant and strong economy. OSLAD grants are dependent on real estate transfer taxes. Without a strong and vibrant economy, we won't transfer real estate. I know it very well. That's my business. I know how important it is that our economy be rebuilt so that we can regenerate in almost every area. And I pledge to you as governor of this state, we won't sweep those dedicated funds away from their intended purposes. When we pass laws in Springfield with the obligation to support specific areas like parks and recreation areas through OSLAD grants, no government, no administration should take that opportunity away from the people of Illinois. As you know, I opposed that in the last 8 years, and I will continue to oppose it. As you know, I also stood steadfast in opposing the closure of our parks and recreation areas, using much of what you do in areas of this state as a political pawn. We can't allow that to happen. It's destructive. It works counter to the benefit of the quality of life of the people of this great state. And I promise you, as governor of the state, we will not only keep our parks and recreational lands open, but we will make them the best in this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a choice in front of us. I'm here today to ask for your help. We need good government for so many reasons. Quality of life, livelihood of families. You know, I live in Bloomington, Illinois. I've got a few of those areas around that I've had an occasion to hunt, walk, hike, and enjoy. I also am blessed to have 3 children, 2 adults, of which who live in the Chicagoland area. I also enjoy the Chicagoland area, particularly the city. But I also know that parks and recreational areas aren't just important to downstate, they're important to the entire state. We're going to ensure we provide our citizens with the recreational opportunities they deserve and need. Additionally, use them to drive tourism and economic development. I promise to work with you to make Illinois the best recreational state in this nation.